Welcome to Two Bees in a Pod. I am Bilola.
And I am B. Leonga, and this is a podcast about immigrant experiences in the U.S., sharing our perspectives on various topics,
Including straddling cultures, fitting in, staying connected, learning and unlearning the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Welcome back to another episode of Two Bees in the Pod. I've even forgotten the name of our podcast. I said Two Bees in the Pod. That's how frustrated I am. Two Bees in a Pod, reporting live from the ghetto. This is our part two, essentially our post-election episode. I mean, if you didn't listen to part one, you can go back and listen. I mean, if you want, but let's get into it. So the icebreaker, this is my favorite icebreaker of all time that we've ever had on this podcast. The question is, what do you hate most about America?
This feels like an interview question. What is your greatest weakness? And then you have to make your weakness a strength. What do I hate most about America? Is what I love most about America, kinda. Racism. I love that America, I hate racism, but I enjoy that it is there, it's in your face every day, you're aware of it at every point in time, and so it very rarely catches you unawares. And it caught me this week. I was not ready, so I'm going to take my L and sit somewhere. But yeah, it's the racism, because it takes a toll on you. There, like, currently I'm just looking at people, and I'm suspicious of everybody right now. Like, do you see me? Do you really see me? Do I exist to you? If something happens to me, do you even see me as a human being? Which I don't, it's not a great way to live. So I would say that is like one of my biggest, yeah.
Well, your answer was a lot more intellectual than mine is going to be. I hate Americans. Specifically, 51% of Americans. I hate you dumb motherfuckers. That's what I hate about America. I don't know what I'm doing in this country still. Sorry, but like this episode, I'm going to be crashing out the whole time. So,
It's funny that you're crashing out, because I was looking at my phone the other day when I texted you. I'm like, this girl is on something. Like, she's talking about it gets better. I'm like, what's...
So for the listeners or viewers, I mean, unless
You've been
live
living
on
under a
Mars,
rock?
even the people under a rock know.
Even people
So
in
I
Jupiter,
must
even aliens.
listen. You must be from another galaxy if you're not aware that we had the US presidential elections this Tuesday, November 5th, and
Voila.
Donald Trump won against. I mean, it doesn't even matter. At this point, it does not matter who he won against. The fact that he won is what is spinning everybody's head, at least everybody who has a reasonable head on their shoulders. Anyway, Donald Trump won the election for his second time. Yeah, a rapist and a convicted felon is going to be the 47th president of America. And I love that for us. I love it so much.
I just want to come out the gate swinging. That for all you idiots, especially your immigrant idiot asses who have undocumented immigrants in your house. Let me tell you something. If I know, and it's for real, that, like, I'm a volunteer ICE agent now. Like, I might be sitting here laughing, but we've done the F around. We are now in the find out, and I hope you've been paying attention to the news, because just yesterday a judge struck down the Biden administration policy that was going to keep undocumented spouses of US citizens in the country. So y'all better start packing. If you need to put your things on a container to go home, do that, because they are coming for you, all of you, every single one of you. You people who were lying to immigration and cross Darien Gap to come and do this nonsense, they are coming for you. You people are celebrating that they are going to bring jobs. Let me tell you, jobs are not coming back. You are going to be doing the work of 3 people for less money. We are going back to the plows, okay? Hook us, all of us. It might not be the literal fields, But we're going back to the fields, okay? We've been hearing about listeria outbreaks, all these outbreaks because there's no agency supervising. I'm not eating lunch meat anymore. I might not even eat. We need to start gardening because the only way we can achieve the only way we can be sure of what we are going to be putting in our bodies is by growing it ourselves. Like maybe even bring your own seeds at this point. That might not be legal, but I'm just saying. Please, this is a shout out. I need you to come and hold my hand and teach me how to garden because conditions are critical. And I feel like we're saying these things and we're laughing. This entire week I've been thinking about, but what was I doing in 2016? I think I was sad for a day. And because I was in Texas, I was working with people who were high fiving. And even when I went to HR to be like, hey, we're not supposed to discuss politics at work, HR told me to. They gave me the middle finger essentially. So I had to sit there with a straight face and just, but I think there was some dread, but it was not this level of existential dread, which we saw what happened the first time. So they've told us what they're going to do now. There's no surprise. Like there's nothing that they will do, and we should sit here and be like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Anything. I'm ready for anything. And what really, really saddens me about this is it's the descendants of like Black Americans, right? Their ancestors gave skull, blood, sweat, everything for rights. And these rights are going to be swept out in 4 years. And I don't know how long it is going to take to get some of these rights back. Because it's not just the presidency. There's the Senate, and there's the Supreme Court, and there's Congress. It's open season. Anything they say, jump, they'll say how high. That's like everything is open season. And only God knows how long. Like, I don't know if you know Wendell Pierce, he's an actor who was on Suits. He played Meghan Markle's father. And he really, really campaigned. He did a lot of work campaigning. He's like, he does not think he's ever going to see a balanced Supreme Court again in his lifetime. And that's really and that's somber to think about it because voting rights, a lot of civil rights were gained in the 60s, probably when he was born. So he's had essentially 40 good years as an adult, and then everything. I think about Jimmy Carter, who held on for so long to vote. One of the oldest, the last living survivor of the Tulsa massacre who voted. And it's like they've seen things. You've gone from Jim Crow to things getting better and things getting worse. And it saddens me because when I think about Hispanics, I don't know which proportion of Hispanic voters are immigrants, but even thankfully, the MAGA Africans, maybe if they're my circle, they have not shown themselves. Please show yourself so I can do the necessary. But I just think about all the immigrants who, for whatever reason, come and live in their little immigrant bubbles and don't talk to people and don't understand that all of us being here as immigrants, especially Black immigrants, are riding on the successes of the civil rights movement and everything that Black American leaders did in the past. And now we've screwed them over. And we are all about to find out.
So you reference our conversation, right? The day after. I stayed up because like I tried to go to sleep. I was like, I'll just wake up and see the results. Of course I couldn't sleep, so I kept, just refreshing like my Google app to see. And then I was like, he had not got to like 267 yet by the time I went to bed. So I was like, let me just, they're still counting West Coast. And then I woke up at some point, obviously after midnight, and I just saw our family group chat. It's like the emojis. The emojis in our family group chat let me know what was going on. And then I went and I was like, you know what? Like, and initially I felt kind of that sinking feeling that I felt in 2016. But I'm not gonna lie, it didn't last long. It didn't last long, and that's why I was so positive to you the next day when we were texting. By the time I went back to sleep somehow, I don't know how I did it. I fell asleep, slept very well, and then woke up again and I was just like, you know what? I cannot come and kill myself in America. I can't. And that was my attitude.
I really
You
want to
know?
get to that place. I want to get there. I don't know how, but I'm really, really aiming for that place of I don't give a fuck anymore. Like it is what it is.
So that's where I'm at.
I'm unplugged though. Like I've left Instagram. Not I've left, but I'm just not going on there. I'm like my phone is
Mhm.
probably wondering like what's popping? Like she ain't on here no more. I can't handle Twitter, not only because of the owner shenanigans, but my Twitter feed is mostly people whose values are aligned with mine. So
Mhm.
I cannot. So I'm just like I'm looking for a place of comfort, I don't have TikTok is a little bit okay because I think people on TikTok, thankful for them, the people whose values are aligned with mine, they're making a joke out of it, right? I saw this one, I think he's a gay man, and he's like, he did really well financially during the Trump administration, and he paid for vacations for his family, and they're all MAGA loving people. He said bank is closed. Everybody needs to go get their own credit
I
card
saw
because
that guy's
because
video.
because this line of credit is closed, you know. I saw a gay man who said that all the white women want to come to gay brunches and be doing Yas Queen. You can't come in anymore. Um, it's over. I've seen all the immigrants who are like, ICE is coming and I'm going to rat you out. It's like I'm going to do their job. I think yeah, so TikTok in a way I found a little bit of laugh kiki here and there on TikTok, but I don't know. It's America, let me take my L. I don't know why I did not see it coming. Despite the polls, I wasn't even looking at polls. The thing that is throwing me off is the numbers, like the number of people who did not vote. And I don't know if compared to 2020. And I don't
Mhm.
know if somebody has a breakdown of like the number of votes that were cast by mail in 2020 versus now, and if that's what accounted for the big difference because I've been a poll worker for the last two presidential elections and like some off-cycle elections. This was the busiest election I've ever worked. Like usually there's like a system by now where you get the early morning rush, there's like a mid-morning lull, you get the lunch rush, there's like a little lull. It was just nonstop all day. At no
Hmm.
point could I would pick up my book and somebody would be there. So it was just like continuous back to back to back to back all day in the entire because in my polling station there were maybe five other precincts and it was busy nonstop. And so when I'm thinking about like, well, my little location, and even when I was going on Monday, which was the last day of early voting, I was going by this library that I drive past. I drove past at like 2:50 something. The line was wrapped around the block. When I
Mhm.
drove back again at 5 something, the line was still wrapped around the block. So it feels like I saw more people trying to vote, and yet the numbers are saying less people voted.
Maybe your area is, more, I think, I don't know, the demographics might be not reflective of the average in the country. But speaking of demographics, right, the let's break down the voters, right? So unsurprising, I don't even want us to spend time talking about white men because I feel like we all know what to expect from them by now. 59% of white men voted for Trump, 39% for Harris. The patriarchy princesses, I'm not surprised by this result. I don't know why people are frustrated with women. I'm not surprised. 52% of white American women voted for Donald Trump, 47% for Kamala. 20% of black men voted for Trump, 78% for Harris, 7% of black women, you people need to be flogged, you 7%,
It's
voted for
probably
Trump,
Africans. It's probably African evangelical Christians.
and 92% for Harris. Obviously, those were the most, percentage wise, that's the
I just
biggest
want to
percentage
point
black
out
women.
something. Like they keep shouting black women. I saw a thing today where they said the Congressional Black Caucus wanted the Harris campaign to reach out to undecided black voters. Listen, black voters are only 12% of the population. Please look at these numbers. We are only
Yeah,
12%. We cannot do it all by ourselves. I
you ain't
beg.
got to worry about us. Hispanic slash Latino men, 54%. We're going to talk about you fools in a minute. 44% for Harris. Latino women, 37% Trump, 61% Harris. And then all others, 45% Trump, 50% Harris. So I want us to go like line by line, right? Like I said, I don't want to bother talking about the white men. They are always going to vote in the interest of conserving power to them, which is how it has been in this country since the inception of America. So nobody should be surprised that white men will be voting for a racist and a misogynist, because that is who is going to further, their interests. Forget about them. 52% of white women voted for Trump. And I think this is similar to how it was in 2016. It's more. What was the numbers in 2016? But it was the majority of them did vote for him in 2016, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then they went to go out, and march.
So this is where let's start breaking down people who are behaving illogically, right? People who are voting against their own interests. This man and his team, his campaign, his administration is going to further gut reproductive rights for women. They've already started, they're well along their way. They're just going to put the icing on the cake. So as a woman, you're voting against your own interests. I don't care if you claim because of religious beliefs and whatnot. When you have an ectopic pregnancy and you're on your deathbed and the doctors are twiddling their thumbs because they cannot figure out whether giving you that life-saving procedure is going to land them in legal trouble, when you're on your deathbed, I hope you remember this vote that you made. I've said it on this podcast. People think that access to abortion is only for promiscuous women who go out, have one night stands, and then want to go and swing by the abortion clinic on the way to brunch. No, abortion is health care for all women, whether you have planned or unplanned pregnancies.
A miscarriage is called a spontaneous abortion medically.
It is. That's what your health insurance codes it as, abortion. Whether it is a miscarriage or it was what they call it, medically induced.
And on the subject of abortion, what people don't understand, because people only think that it is when, an unwanted pregnancy. When states are banning abortions, that medical students are also not getting the necessary training. Iowa, for instance, on Monday when people thought Iowa was going to flip, because Iowa almost has no OB/GYNs left in their state. The ones who train, people are not even coming there for training anymore. The ones who used to train would always leave. And a lot of them are closing up shop and leaving because the law is just too, what is it called? Not even stringent, but like loose, and they're not sure what they're liable for. So they're leaving. And so we're going to get a generation of medical students. I know someone who graduated from med school last year and was in Ohio. When the abortion ban went into effect, they did not teach them. So this person had to go elsewhere to get those skills. We are going to get medical students or doctors in 4 years, 5 years, in the next decade, who don't know how to perform these procedures. And it's a straight line. Action meets consequence. People are only thinking about the right here and the right now without thinking about the real long-term implications. Because rural America always votes against itself. You hear about, a lot of hospitals are owned by venture capital companies now, and it's all about the profits, and they're closing rural hospitals. So you hear stories where doctors go maybe to Appalachia every month or so, and they triage people. So like the worst cases get seen, but there's no continuous care. And that's you might think that, oh, it's all fun and games until it happens in your backyard. Maybe Texas still has protections for now, but what if that man keeps going crazy? Already he's starting last week. You have to give your immigration status when you go to, I don't know if it's the emergency room or just the hospital in general. But we know that they're not going to profile the white South African Zimbabwean. We know the people whose immigration status is going to be checked at the hospital. God forbid you bring your parents here and there's a medical emergency, but people want to vote like clowns. Get your red noses.
And we have already seen how this abortion, regulations will impact IVF. We already saw What state's Supreme Court was that ruled that the embryos are basically human beings, and IVF clinics in those states had to start closing down?
Can they give their social security numbers at least so they can claim on their taxes?
That's going to be, again, to your point, people are only looking right in front of them, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm a white, married woman, I have my children, I will never perform an abortion is against the Bible, all of this nonsense. But you're not thinking about how it would impact you and your daughters if you had an ectopic pregnancy, if you need IVF. You people should watch, like, down the line, if Trump's administration, their plans go as they want, IVF is going to be impacted because, again, those embryos are going to be considered children. Life begins at conception. And then, just to round out the white women, this man is a rapist. He has bragged about assaulting women on camera. This came out in 2016 and you guys still voted for him.
Okay.
So, anyway, you know who surprised me? Black men. Even though they're
you thought there were going to be more.
I thought it would be more than 20%. I thought the Ashes would be way more than 20%. But
I think some of them still have mothers and their mothers probably slapped them.
That number is too much. But it is definitely less than I expected. I thought they would definitely show their misogynistic asses, but apparently more of them have a good head on their shoulders.
The other day I said that, thank God I'm in Chicago, because I'll hate to have to go into my taco joint to ask them who they voted for before I buy my tacos. That's where I'm at. That is, no, honestly, that's how I feel. And I might ask, like,
are you talking about the taco truck or like a brick and mortar taco?
I have my local taco joint, no frills, very easy. I'll be practicing my little Duolingo Spanish with them.
Are you sure those people are citizens? I don't think they voted.
How they have a physical location now?
Meaning what? You think the people that you're interfacing with, maybe the owner, but the people working
It's a family run place. Unless Chad went and is doing something, but it's a family run place,
like a Latino family. Okay. Yeah. So Black women came through per usual. Like you said, the 7% are probably the naturalized evangelical Africans.
Black women, it's not even came through. Black women are fighting for survival. Because all the stories we've seen recently about the people who have been affected by abortion ban and who have died are Black women. So Black women are just trying to survive with minimal damage to themselves.
Getting killed by the police.
They're not under any illusion that, this person aligns with them clearly, but they're trying to align themselves with the person who's going to do the least damage to them. Simple. The end. Because at every turn, Black women are going to bear the brunt of every bad thing that happens in this American society. Every single time.
Agree. For the Hispanic/Latino men, I have a question. The 54% of you people. Do you know you have 30 minutes? Listen.
So, somebody said, do not send me your abuelita's GoFundMe. She got to get on the bus.
Do you know you have 30 minutes? Trump's team has said they want to deport 25 million people.
They won. Listen, I will be doing, please sir, over here.
25, there are not 25 million undocumented people in this country. Where are they going to make up those numbers from? 25 million.
All the people lied on your asylum applications. They coming for y'all. They all TPS probably ain't gonna happen no more. They're revoking. They're probably canceling DV lottery. Y'all keep playing. I said we are in the find outs.
Listen, when the police officer pulls you over and he's asking you to show your papers because he has officially profiled you, I don't want to hear him.
I said that there will be no protest marches. Remember that Nigerian guy who got killed by that girl in Florida? And then they saw his anti-Black women tweets. I don't care if you were 5, if you were 2. Like, I need to start talking to all the little boys in my life. We need to have a come to Jesus moment. Because if you ever try some of this, there'll be no hashtag for you. We ain't doing it. Like, let's be very clear. Listen, Black women, we will be home with our robes this winter. In the summer, wear our sundress. You people were being generous with your cookout invitations. It will come and bite you people in the butt. We are not, no more cookout invitations. Like, let's just sit there. And for your little raggedy 77%, because I swear down, if we were going to the breakdown of that 7%, it's all your hypocritical evangelical stuff about religion. Look at the person. Does he even know how to open a Bible? That people are thinking that is God is the Messiah. Are you people thinking?
He said the Bible is his favorite book of all time. That's what he said.
Are you people
You didn't see that
thinking?
interview? This is the thing. I think this, Latino, Hispanic people who voted for him, they have that mentality that I see also sometimes with Africans, where it's like,
a strong man.
but I did the right thing. I came here the right way. I worked hard and I got my papers. Why are they now they're looking down on people in their community who are undocumented, and they think that they're better? But this is the thing that all of you minorities will learn when you try to align with racist white people. You're not one of them. They know that you're not one of them, and you will never be one of them. I know that your skin is pale and your hair is straight. They know you're not one of them, and you will never be. And in these next 4 years, you will find that out exactly.
Remember, Herman Cain was sitting at those rallies and when he died of COVID, they ain't even go to his funeral. You people should continue.
So, a lot on the campaign trail, we heard about Project 2025, which is, and I'm just going to quote here from the ACLU, it's a federal policy agenda and blueprint for a radical restructuring of the executive branch. It's authored by the Trump administration in partnership with the Heritage Foundation. And essentially, this is what they are hoping to accomplish during Trump's second term. Some of it has already started in the works, like we're talking about rolling back, abortion access. And they have a manual, which is essentially their mandate, right? And these are some of the things that are on that make up that mandate. Number one, gutting abortion access. That's already in the works. Like I said, they're just going to put the icing on that cake. Mass deportation. Again, to my Hispanic Latinos for Trump, that 25 milli target that they said they want to deport.
Where have you been? They coming for you.
Listen, they want to end birthright citizenship. And I've also seen somebody in Trump's camp saying not only do they want to end birthright citizenship, they're talking about denaturalizing people. So what's birthright citizenship? It means that regardless of the status of your parents, right? You could be an undocumented person on a visa, on a green card. Any non-citizen who has a child in America, that child has the right to be a U.S. citizen automatically because they were born on American soil. They want to end that. Denaturalization means that what? Me, you, including, I'm sure, a lot of the Latinos who voted for Trump who are naturalized citizens, they are talking about denaturalizing us. That means revoking our citizenship based on certain criteria. I think they said if at least one of your parents was not a citizen or a permanent resident, again, this is what they want to do. Will they be successful? I don't know, but that's part of their agenda. And then, like Bilola mentioned, ending asylum. Seeking asylum is a right that everybody has in America, and that is, based on international law as well as American law. They want to end that. The interesting thing is that the day when Donald Trump won the election, I went to our favorite Cameroon blog site, and they had posted, a video of him giving his victory speech. And in the comments, there were Cameroonians who were celebrating, as well as a lot of them who were saying, oh, road for Mexico, not on block. a lot of migrants from Cameroon. Like we had Daniel on the show a few months ago who talked about people who go through South America and basically on foot and across rivers come across the Mexico border into America and seek asylum. They want to end that. They want to end that asylum right that immigrants have. So it's really, really funny to me when I see Cameroonians, people who are actually not even Americans, celebrating Donald Trump's win. Another agenda item in Project 2025 is warrantless surveillance, right? So they want to give the government the right to survey anybody without a warrant. That means, tapping your phones. That means, whether it's drones, whether it's your computer conversations, your web browser, all of that, which I think had already started under George Bush. I remember when that scandal came out. Another big one, criminalizing protesters and sanctioning violence against protesters, which
we won't be protesting.
I gotta worry about that because you will not find me out in those streets protesting for anybody's cause. Those days are behind me.
Maybe a black woman, but I'll be on my computer. Y'all ain't finna catch me outside.
Listen.
Got it.
You ain't gonna catch me out in these streets protesting for anybody's cause.
I said
I will send you.
Going back to Starbucks, by the way, in my household. I told Sana, I said, we're going for celebratory drinks. What do you like?
Whatever your cause, I was sending you concepts of thoughts and prayers. You ain't listen.
I saw that.
Like Bilala said, if it's not directly impacting a black woman, I ain't protesting shit. I ain't boycotting shit.
Listen, just in time for Red Cup season, we're back up. We're back. This morning, I was like, girl, which one is your favorite? Is it the caramel brulee latte or the chestnut praline? I just need to make sure I mark my calendar for Red Cup Day. It's been a long time. Our guests have been here.
1 year.
We were struggling.
I'm not driving Starbucks in over a year.
We were struggling to find local coffee shops. Remember, we're looking for local coffee shops to send gift cards. Please.
I don't
even go to Starbucks like that. I don't even go like that, but bro, I went to Starbucks just so that my stars did not expire. So every time I had stars expiring, I'll go use them. Did not spend my dollars.
Listen, I got Starbucks gift cards at work and I still did not go to Starbucks.
If you want to share, I'm not going to say no.
I feel like I even threw them away. I swear to God. Hey. I got gift cards from work. I said I'm starting a business. Anyway, I mean, Starbucks.
I don't care about Starbucks. I don't drink.
There's much better coffee out there.
I don't drink coffee. My point is just I was doing solidarity.
Same.
Solidarity. And I feel a little bit sad because it feels like divide and conquer won. But choices were made. Choices were made.
These are not the last 2 points, but these are the ones that are being highlighted, right, by the ACLU, which is the American Civil Liberties Union, for those who don't know. They want to roll back voters' rights, which they already started. In this election, Bill talked about how they purged, there was like 1,600 voter records from West Virginia?
No, Virginia.
And then, again, something that has already started on a local level, censoring education. They don't want children to be taught about slavery.
This is the one. It's not just slavery. This is the one. This is the one that tickles me. Somebody tweeted that the history books are going to have a field day. Somebody said, what books? They won't be teaching anything. And that's a fact. I saw a number somewhere where it was like high school people without a college degree who voted. It was like in the 80-something%. And that is the point. Because if you are educated, you will understand what is being said and you will listen. People are talking about was the economy. How many people took economics in college?
One more fucking think piece talking about it was because of economic concerns. Shut up, people are racist and they're misogynists.
The price gouging that is waiting for you people at the stores. Store owners are putting this digital, they're starting, I've seen them at some of my local stores. They have these digital price tags. And the point of that is so they can change the price depending on if there's like higher demand, they can jack up the price without having to go in there and manually fix it.
Instantaneously.
The price gouging that awaits us in the future, and there's not going to be any federal agency to save us all. By the way, you people might want to start considering putting your money in Njangi under your mattress, because if they got the FDIC as they want to got every federal oversight agency, chairs can close shop one day and the government won't bail them out, and your money will go like that year that the BIO closed in Cameroon. Ask your parents about it if you don't know. I'm just saying, the education one is the part that bothers me, because there's all this talk about school choice, and we talked about it the last episode. I have a friend who said, in her school district in the Houston area, they had maybe 9 schools. Each school had its own librarian. They've closed all of them, and the entire district has one librarian. And they want to do national book bans. They're going to be pushing for vouchers, which is probably just going to decimate the public school system. Louisiana, I don't know if it's the state of Louisiana or New Orleans, they don't have a public school system. Everything is private or charter. And we might want to go and look at those numbers and see how that's, how markets, because that's what I think about. When the state of Texas took over the Houston Independent School District administration, I felt like I didn't see anybody shouting, like people were not incensed by that action, because it starts there. Like, where do you draw the line? We have a lot of neurodivergent kids in our community. In Texas, a lot of support for neurodivergent kids is administered through the school system. With pro-choice, they're taking money out of the public school system, which means your kids are not going to have access to the therapists, whatever therapies and assistance that they need. They're not going to have that. Ask the parents of neurodivergent kids what they had to go through during COVID when the schools were closed. Now it's not just COVID, this is long term. And you're thinking, oh, I have money, I'll send my child to a private school. Private schools are not obliged to take your child. They are not obliged to have an individual education plan for your child. So y'all are not even smart enough to homeschool your children. Let's be clear. So don't even think that you are going to homeschool these children. But anyways, homeschool, school choice, it won't make a difference. There's when I was working the other day, I was talking to some of the other election judges, and we're talking about civics in the schools, man. People don't understand how the American government works. They said they teach it in 8th grade. I said we need to have it like driver's license, doctors, lawyers, there's continuous education. I think that every couple of years when you go for a driver's license, they need to refresh, you need to take some kind of a refresher on how the government works, because a lot of people don't understand that. And they won't be teaching it in the schools anymore. So, hey, we're going to have a generation of clowns in the streets. They are going to be TikTok stars. In Nevada, I think they are still counting in Nevada because Gen Zs voted. They didn't teach them how to write in cursive. They don't have signature. And they don't answer phone. They don't pick up the phone. So they are calling them so that they can cure their ballots, like come and verify your signature. And it's a problem. Illinois has same-day registration, and people are like, oh, why don't we don't check ID? Because we check your signature. When you register to vote, you show all the proof of eligibility, and your signature is what verifies you. I promise you, if you want to go and sit down to copy, there's signatures that I've seen. I don't know. It's like, is it really worth it for this one signature? But there are a lot of people on Tuesday where I had to say, do you have another signature? Or do you want to update your signature? Because if you've given me your driver's license, I verify that that's you, but your signature is not matching. But I see your license, I see your picture. Do you want to update your signature? But apparently in Nevada, that's the thing that happened. A lot of the children, because apparently they don't teach them how to write anymore. Everything is on the computer, so they don't know how to sign.
Okay, so what are the upsides, right? What are the positives that have come out of this election result on a personal and a societal level, in your opinion, if there are any? I think there are some.
I mean, somebody said all people think that you're going to make money. I mean, the 1%, they made a lot of money the other day. I don't know. I said that we should throw ethics behind. We need to be investing in the thing. So the people, the private prisons, we need to be investing. They're going to make money. Might as well cash in, I've not yet reached the upsides. I don't know. I'm looking for them. So I'm joking about this, but I really, who morality help, who values it. I mean, I do have my guiding principles, but my money has no morals and no values.
So I think you mentioned this right. On a societal level, I think the positive is exactly what you said in the beginning. What you love about America is that you know what American people stand for, and the American people have shown us what they stand for by the way that they voted. Like I said, fuck these think pieces that are talking about people who are concerned about the economy. Bullshit. America is a racist, misogynistic country, and the results of the election demonstrate that. And the people who voted for Donald Trump are okay living in a society where racism, misogyny, and other kind of bigotry are rampant. They're okay with that. They're okay with having a president who is a rapist. And for me, one of my personal resolution is that going forward, I'm going to refer to him as rapist in chief. Like that's going to be his title in my head going forward.
That part in your head. Because we are moving to police states.
So that's an upside, right? Is that everybody knows now. Like you said, when you're walking around, oh my God, whenever that was Wednesday, when the results came out, I went into the office very briefly and I shared an elevator with a white guy. And of course, I was not in the mood to be saying hi, hello to anybody. And I felt like he was going out of his way to be super nice. Yeah, hey, how's it going? And then he got off before my floor and he was like, you have a nice day. And I was just like, I wanted to ask him, who did you vote for you telling me to have a nice day?
That's how I feel. That's how I feel just looking around. My polling precinct is a very immigrant community, and they have always voted for Donald Trump every election that I have worked. They have always voted. So my other election judges were like, let's take, how do we think it's going to go? I said 70%. And they were like, what? I said, I'm just going based off of precedent and what I've experienced here. And at the end of the night, it was more 60, it was more like 50 something percent, which I was like, not bad, because I thought it was going to be, 70. But again, this is a very, very heavy immigrant district. Very much so. And I guess it doesn't matter. I think what is ironic is a lot of immigrants come here because you're escaping, you want to run away from your country, right? Because if these countries were great, honest to God, if Cameroon was a functioning society, why would I be here? Why would I be in a society where I'm constantly watching my back? When little things happen, I always have to question, is it the color of my skin? Raising a child in this country and just being on always affirming, making sure nobody's putting them down, or just, always having to be on edge. We came here because we're all looking for a better life. And this better life and better society, we want to turn it into the ones that we escaped. There's only going to be one loser. All of us who have melanin, not the melanin deficient.
The thing is that the people who vote the way you're describing, right? They have it in their head that they are not like other members of their community.
True. Yeah, they're different. Something that is funny. Voters in Missouri voted for abortion access, something about living wages. So all liberal type ideologies, right? But they still voted red for president, red Josh Hawley for Senate and a governor. You're not going to get those things. So it's like something is not connecting. There are some neurons that they're not firing, they're not touching, because what you want and what you're voting for, they're not aligned. They're not aligned, because these people are not going to give you those things. Florida had voted to restore felon rights, voting rights to convicted felons, and then that little man down there did some machinations, um, and didn't like they had to pay something. So it's like, don't vote for things. You're voting for things, but you're not voting for the people who actually make these things happen for you. So why are you doing? But I think that China needs to send us an abundant supply of red noses because a lot of people need to wear them.
They cannot send it because there'll be tariffs. There'll be
Yeah.
tariffs.
Maybe I need to go
cannot
and buy.
wait for the tariffs to kick in. I can't fucking wait. Let me hear somebody complaining about prices
A
going
lot of
up.
people that like to buy Shein. You people think
Listen,
that Shein has a warehouse in Indiana. All I'm saying is, all your people be on Alibaba, Shein, Timo. People about
first of all, 90% of the stuff on Amazon is from China. So
let me go and make friends with my tailor. It might be in our anyways. Shout out.
I cannot.
I should not shout out to T-Pain in Abuja, who is keeping me laced right and tight because he's playing with the Naira also. But now would be a good time to support the Naira, the SEDI, the CFA by buying from your local designers because Timo ain't happening no more. Shein ain't happening no more. Maybe we should start a brand. What do you think? I think
But they will still put tariffs up because we won't be import. We'll be importing stuff now.
we'll find a way. Let's not
We'll
discuss.
locally source everything.
We'll not
I
discuss
know.
on here.
Let's keep our
We
business
might
plans
we'll
confidential.
go and find a caterpillar that's going to be making our silk. Like, Jesus, you know what? I needed to record today. I needed
Jesus
this
Lord.
is my first genuine laugh of this week, and I needed this.
And the way they want to ban interracial marriage, you guys know that they're talking about banning interracial. Not they'll not outright ban it, right? But they want to make it so that if you go to a county clerk to get married,
Kentucky, is it Kentucky? They already Tennessee. Tennessee already did that last week.
they can just say like, no, I don't want to marry you guys, and they can have their reasons, and it's not illegal to discriminate for any reason, whether it's a queer couple, whether it's an interracial couple, they just don't like you guys. No fault divorce. They also want to get rid of no fault divorce, which means that you cannot just divorce your husband because the overwhelming majority of divorces are initiated by women. You will not just be able to divorce your husband because of irreconcilable differences. You'll have to prove that there's some abuse going on or some.
You people better be doing calm with y'all better start doing calm with still. Don't go and enter something you cannot come out of.
Listen, but on a personal note, right? And again, I was feeling like I was not as down and depressed as I thought I would be the following day. I wasn't at all because I just felt a sense of clarity, right? Like, I know how I'm going to be moving going forward. I'm going to be moving in a very selfish and self-centered way. Like I said, if something is not directly impacting Black women or gay Black people, I'm really not going to get emotionally invested financially, physically, in any kind of cause or effort that does not concern those two groups of people. That's the first thing. The second thing, on a personal note that is positive for me, I have a decision to make next year. And it was I was debating whether to take a long-term approach. This is something financial, to take a long-term approach or kind of be very short-sighted and be liquid. And Trump's victory has made it easy for me to see now that I have to be thinking short-term and more liquid. So I'm happy that at least that decision, it has been made very easy for me, so I know what I'm going to do when the time comes next year. So yeah, like I'm chilling. I'm not stressed about this bullshit, to be honest, because like you said, and it's unfortunate, this shit is not going to impact me. Like, I don't know, unless they do denaturalization, which you can deport me back to the UK. I will not complain about that.
Yeah, so
what else is going to impact me? No, what is going to impact me?
Yeah, sure that is too high. Though, Cameroon might not even take me back. I need to reapply for citizenship.
Take my citizenship and deport me. Yeah, like what again? What else again? I'm not going to be protesting for anybody.
I won't die in Cameroon, to be fair. I'll just, make it do what it do. But
Listen.
I mean, no, I think for me, it's as a parent raising a kid, like I'm walking the fine line between telling her it's okay, it'll be all right, and asking like, so how do you think? Like, whose parent did you say voted like this? I don't want to be smiling with people that don't need to see my teeth. She mentioned one family, and it tracks because there was a year during COVID, she was having a virtual party, and as part of that, I drove around town dropping off the goodie bags for the party. And I remember going to this house. I could see them in their house, and I was like ringing, and they didn't open us. I had to call to be like, I'm at your door. But I could see into their house. So I don't know if they were willing for me, but it was a very uncomfortable interaction
Mm.
where it just left a feeling. So the minute she said those ones, I said,
It tracks.
it tracks. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the day will end, you know. I'm not like 2017. I remember sitting through confirmation. Does it matter? It don't matter. They should do what you do. Hopefully I'll survive it, and you know, shout out to my governor, my able governor. We call him Governor Big Bear, Teddy Bear, JB Pritzker, doing everything to keep us good here for now.
Listen.
For now, who knows who would try to override him and how, because it's all the party of small government until local government doesn't abide by your ideologies, then all of a sudden the big government has to come in and take over.
I
So
mean, those of us in Texas, we have Texans. What is it about this wall gecko of a man, Ted Cruz, that you people keep? I don't understand. That man is so creepy. You cannot tell me that even the Republicans like him. Like I don't get it. Like, why do y'all keep re-electing this man?
this is for all my friends who keep asking if I'm coming back to Texas. No, I'm
Listen,
not.
I saw a TikTok where the girl was like, somebody is asking her, "You're from Texas?" She's like, "No, I'm from San Antonio." They're like, "San Antonio, Texas?" She's like,
Mm-mm.
"Yeah, San Antonio. You're from Texas?" No, that's how I feel. I'm from Houston. I'm not from Texas.
Like,
There's a difference.
I mean, HEB should consider expanding. That's really what I miss about Houston.
I know, I love HEB. Though I heard that the owners are like right wing evangelical.
The Home Depot owner who was a flaming MAGA donor passed away the other day. Win is a win.
Amen. Closing thoughts. I'll go first. So I know that there are people who are despairing and anxious and angry. I mean, give yourself a few days to feel all of those things, but what are you going to do? Especially if you're a black woman and you live in America, you need to be entering your villain era, right? This next 4 years needs to be your selfish villain era. Don't check for anything that does not directly concern you. Like, enough is enough. We know the country that we live in, right? We cannot say now that we don't know. We know the people that we're dealing with. So just move ahead with clarity and do what is best for you.
We are only 7% of the population. We cannot carry it on our backs, please. I beg. Closing thoughts. I don't know. Like, if you're like me, feel your feelings, do what you can. If you have anxiety, maybe now is the time to get on your meds. I'm just saying, like, if you have a constant tight feeling in your chest, it's not tightness, it's anxiety. Go and talk to a professional. I'm serious though. Like, I think some of the things that I think about is if I there are a lot of decisions I made growing up which were fueled by keeping anxiety in check, where right, wrong is what I did what I had to do then, but I wish I had better tools to cope. And so I think that if you're feeling anxious, feel the feelings, but if you really feel like it's taking a toll, seek help from a professional. We are going to need it. We need the right tools, not just tools, but the right tools.
Agree. And if you're married to a man and you're thinking about divorcing him, now is the time to file those papers. You
I'm
may
just
not be
saying
allowed to
that
in the
Jumba
future.
is no longer a problem, or you might want to invest in some calm with stay because they're gonna lock you up, lock you in
And
there.
get that IUD, girl. Get the IUD.
They might stop giving you people in Texas.
I've heard that too. I've heard whispers of that. Get that IUD, get those tubes tied, do whatever you need to do.
I mean, if you are raising daughters and I beg, I'm tired. I don't have anything. If you want to ask me a question, come and ask me. But if you voted for this man and you
Fuck
know
you,
me
first of all.
and you know me personally, delete my number. Don't call me. Don't text me. Don't talk to me. I saw this thing that I said. It said, don't let politics ruin your relationship. It's funny how this is almost always said by the same people who voted against your rights. I don't feel comfortable around you. The person that you voted for is homophobic, racist, and hates women, and none of that was a deal breaker for you. It is personal. We have a difference in morals, and I do feel differently about you. You cannot tell someone you love them and then try to take their rights away. So, delete my number, stay away from me. I want to talk to you. The end.
One more thing. Fuck you, Joe Biden. I'm talking about you. No, Joe Biden, you gave this woman 30 minutes to run a campaign. Why did people have to bully you to stand down? You knew you were not fit. Since from 1 year ago, people were saying that thing. Why did you have to be bullied? Somebody made the great point on TikTok that this was a glass cliff for her. And if you don't know that phenomenon that happens with Black women in corporate America, go and look it up. They set her up for this glass cliff. You gave her 30 minutes to run a campaign.
I don't.
Fuck you, Joe Biden.
No, looking at these numbers, I'm taking the stance of I'm not blaming anybody but the people who voted for this man, because it could have been 1 year, it could have been 5 years. It did not matter who it was, and because to me it's just it was a black woman, and there are people who could not vote for a black person and a woman. Like, they didn't even vote for Hillary Clinton, and that's my fault for having hope that they didn't even vote for one of theirs. Why would they vote for somebody on the other side? I'm not blaming anybody, because I think about all the rallies and there's nothing that she was still campaigning on Monday nights. What else was she supposed to do?
She
Hang her
did
body.
the best.
There's nothing that she could have done. People want to be pointing fingers. The only people I'm pointing fingers at are the people who voted for this man. That's it. There was a video I overheard somebody saying, oh, that she never said what she was doing. She always just said Donald Trump would do this or he would do that. She's a
She
liberal,
said
but she
exactly
voted.
what she would do. Y'all weren't
Exactly.
listening.
People
You
wanted
dumb
to hear what they
motherfuckers.
wanted to. I was on a Reddit thing. They're like, well, they're just happy that a majority of the country has the leader they wanted. Like, what? Anyways, I'm not pointing fingers. I mean, I still have beef with Nancy Pelosi and a bunch of other people. But in this case, in this particular, where we are today and where we are going to be for the next decade or so is on the people who voted for this man. Finish.
True. All right. Well, if you want to take your mind off existential dread, you can read our November book of the month, which is Arrow of God by Chinua Achebe. It will take you far away from America, both in location and time. So pick that up and read along with us. We're on YouTube at 2Bs in a Pod, on Instagram at 2Bs Pod. Subscribe, follow us, tell a friend to tell a friend. And until next time, you think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. What's your interpretation?
I mean, it's self-explanatory now. Like, you didn't just fall from the sky. They're not tombés du ciel. You exist because, like I said, that we are here today is based on the struggles of the ancestors, the Black American ancestors who fought for the rights and for us to be here today, and for our own ancestors who did not succumb to colonization or whatever else happened before we came here. And so that we are here today is because of the things these people did, and everything, right or wrong. Some people are suffering generational curses, other experiencing generational blessings. Get a CB. But I don't understand, because there are people who are like, oh, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, there's a lot of low intellectual people running these streets.
They said that this quote doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're stupid.
Then
To answer your
those are the
question,
same people who want to homeschool their children.
and another whether I'll interpret it right, like America as a country, we did not just fall out of a coconut tree. We exist in the context of slavery, the genocide of the Native American people, Jim Crow, and everything that happened before this point. So when you people are voting as if, again, this country just fell out of a coconut tree today and you don't know what has happened historically, then you will learn that lesson the hard way.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.